Yo, 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 what's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well and had a fantastic weekend. As always, already have a question in the live chat. Always nice to see some activity. It's nice to see you guys, and hope also that everyone had a great week. Was a pretty boring one for me. So, before we dive into everything, could I just get a confirmation that the sound is good? But everything should be good, I think. Everything is good. So, hello, Kajus. Not sure how to say your name. I hope I'm not butchering it. But we will talk about the stock market because it has indeed reached our target, and we have seen a couple of rejections from there since. So that will be something to talk about definitely. Hello, Jean-Pierre. Nice to see you. Everything is good. Already excited yet for another live stream? Well, that's great to hear. I'm excited as well since I haven't been super active on YouTube because overall, well, I'm just taking a small break after the big short that I closed last week, which was my biggest win ever. But also, I just can't be bothered. This week there was nothing in this market for me to talk about. And with that said, we'll dive into the recap. First of all, the announcements. If you guys want to trade with a 30% fee discount on Bitunix, the referral link will be available in the description of the live stream. And of course, if you want to get access to my indicator, which helps us predict very good bottoms with this low, this high, even this high right now, the link will also be available in the description of the live stream. So for the recap, this week will be a very quick one. If we go back to last Sunday, I wanted to see a Monday low and a move up into the resistance towards Friday. Okay, now we did get the Monday low. If I go on the lower time frames, actually we can recap this on the Discord. So we did drop into Monday and we got a pretty nice bounce. If I go on the charts, I mean, still if you took that trade from the low to that high, it was exactly a 4% bounce, which is a pretty big trade. Personally, I didn't take it just because I didn't have any level. That's basically what I was saying. Actually, I did take it. No, my bad, my bad. I did take the long, but I closed it pretty early for a break-even trade. Now I remember. So I just took a trade on Monday, closed it early, which ended up offering a bounce of 4%, which would have been a pretty nice win, I do have to admit. But overall, after this, let me mute my phone. After this, I didn't do anything. Okay, so that was Tuesday. I didn't want to be trading because I just didn't see anything on the chart. I didn't have any levels around. After this, on the only next trade that I was looking for, we did have a Wednesday pivot as well, which offered a pretty decent low. But overall, for the next trade that I was looking for, it was on Friday just because of another time pivot. I was looking for Friday low to then see a recovery to the upside. First target would have been the range highs at $72,000, give or take, but then we didn't get the sweep of the lows and we went straight up on Friday, which brings me on to today. We got a pretty strong continuation to the upside, and right now we are seeing a bit of an aggressive drop before the CME open. Okay, so very quick recap, didn't do anything, just took a trade on Monday right there, which I closed early. And apart from that, at least from my side, I didn't see anything too interesting on the charts. So now what can you expect this week? Well, the first thing that I want to say is that I would be looking for a continuation on this plan. I can delete this, but the reason for that is that as you guys know, if you remember, this is the higher time frame plan that I am expecting to play out on Bitcoin. It would be a range, sweep the highs, get acceptance back below, sweep the lows below $60,000, get the final bottom. Of course, potentially we'll have to see then, but get the final bottom for the bear market and then send Bitcoin higher. So for myself, I am still operating on this bias that we will take out the range highs first, drop back down below $60,000. We have pretty strong supports down there. I can go over to Bybit. This is my big support area just below $58,000 going all the way to $56,000. That will be a massive support area to hold for Bitcoin. And from there, once again, we could look for the low. So with that said, it is actually good that this week has been pretty sideways because we do need a bit of time to form a range. Now looking back at my Sunday's plan, expecting the fake out this Friday maybe would have been a bit early. So the fact that we are still below that high is actually a good sign to me. Now, for the lower time frame levels, can we find anything? Can't I? I have the same problem. I mean, we have a 4-hour imbalance, but I'm not a fan of this one because just below we have a wickless 4-hour candle and a 4-hour order block, and even this level, I mean, we would be getting back a bit too close to these lows. So if you guys really want to open a long position, for me, that's just the way that I want to trade right now. If I don't see a strong level, I'm just not gonna trade. That's what I have done this week. That's what I'm probably gonna do this week for the long trades. But if you guys really want to trade at level, maybe 66.1 could be a decent one. Can I find any confluence? We do have the value area low just above, so that is actually a decent confluence. We are now below the point of control, so if everything about the volume profiles, but that's just pure volume profile, we could maybe get a retest of the point of control, rotation to the value area low, and then a move up. Would I like this? Not really, but it is what it is. So on the lower time frames for the long positions, again, I'm just talking about the long. Don't really have a strong level. 66.1 is the only one that I can see, but you know, except if we get a great reaction, I'm going to give it a shot just because, well, I haven't traded for a week, so I can take a bit more risk. So if we drop there, not really expecting it, but if we drop there, I might open a long position. What I'm looking for this week, ideally, okay, so that would be my expectation for this week, would be that price holds somewhere around these price levels until the CME open, because we have the CME gap just above us at around, let me check, it's right there actually. So the CME gap, just so I mark it on my chart, it will be at 68.8. Okay, this one will get filled. I mean, it's pretty much, we're at it right now. But if price could go sideways for a bit until the CME open and then open the CME right on the gap, I would like to see a straight move to the upside to go for the range highs at, let's see, exactly 72.2. From there, this is where I will be looking for my big trades. The first option is that we front on my level just because it is a bit far from this high, so I don't know if everyone will be longing, then we might just not reach my level and get a reversal before that. We'll have to see live in the time. But ideally, what I would be looking for this week is for price to maintain around this range, get a move up, sweep this high, and then we can see, do we reach my level before getting that bigger reversal to the downside and ultimately a break back below these lows, or do we just take out the high, front on my level, and then see a reversal to the downside? Again, it's not really important what happens. Even for myself, I wouldn't mind opening 2 short positions. So let's say I see a bit of imbalances. I might take, for example, a short like this. And then if this one gets stopped out, I will just take a second short with the target still being $60,000. Okay, that would be a very big trade. And again, since my last trade was a massive one, I don't mind taking a bit more risk right now. So that would be my plan for this week. We can put 2 targets. The first one would be a fake out just above this high, but the second one would be a test of my level at just around $76,000. Okay, so I would outline this just for the sake of it. Actually, let's do it like this. Text, and let's put them both valid entries based on reaction. Okay, so that would be my plan for Bitcoin this week. We can put all of this inside the Sunday plan. Come on. Okay, Sunday plan. So that would be my plan for Bitcoin this week. Okay, get a fake out above these highs, potentially just a swing failure pattern of that high. We can put it just a bit lower. So potentially just a failed auction right above that high, or ideally, which would be my preferred scenario, a move into my resistance. Okay, so a move into my resistance and then a rejection to the downside. So everything should be quite simple right here. You have the higher time frame plan, which is outlined right here on my Binance chart. I am heavily expecting this to play out. So going on the lower time frames, this is how you could play around it. Personally, I'm not really looking for the long positions yet. I'm talking about leverage, not spot. I told you I have been buying spot Ethereum, but looking at Bitcoin for the leverage long positions right now, I'm not too interested in anything just because I don't have any strong levels below. Of course, if you were able to catch the low, for example, this one, that was a very good trade for me. I was not able to catch it and I don't really care. Okay, so we can move on to Ethereum. And if you guys have any questions, send them in the live chat. But then we'll dive into Ethereum, the stock market, and then we should be done there. So for Ethereum, I mean, that would be the same plan as Bitcoin. Overall, on the higher time frames, we have hit a pretty interesting level, which I talked about last. So I think I talked about it on this Sunday. That was my main target for this drop, $1,800. We had a wickless daily imbalance. It has been reached. We have got a pretty good reactions. I have bought spot Ethereum, but for the trading, I don't trade this coin. I mainly trade Bitcoin. So on Ethereum, if you guys are interested in trades, I mean, it would be the same playbook as Bitcoin. You probably want to see a sweep above these highs and then a move back down. Okay, that should be fairly simple. Sweep the highs and then come back down. Sweep the lows one more time and then get a reversal to the upside. Will be heavily dependent on Bitcoin, of course. If Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum will go down. If Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum will go up. Not much to say right there. But that could be a key level to reclaim. Key to reclaim. If anyone is interested in the higher time frames, could take this daily imbalance just a bit higher. So would that line up with that low? Yup, it would. So that would be the key, $2,400 pretty much. If you reclaim this on Ethereum, that would be a very big sign of strength. To the downside, if we break, so if we fail to hold this low and we push lower, the next level will be $1,300, which would still be an interesting area to buy spot on Ethereum. Not financial advice, just for educational content. I'm telling you what I'm personally doing. So that's it for Ethereum. I'm not gonna outline a super lower time frame plan. Just look for these highs to get taken out. Pretty much the exact same plan as Bitcoin. So we can pause it right there. Hi Habib, everything is good. Okay, all good. If I can remember, all good. In November, December, you were much less interested buying spot at these levels. What made you more bullish in that regard? It's just a drop. I didn't really expect Ethereum to drop to these levels. I have to be honest. I didn't really expect it to drop to these levels. Because at this point, yeah, that was around December. I don't think I talked. Oh yeah, it was actually in this range. Well, I don't know. I just looked at it and I thought that it was a decent opportunity because once again, this chart reminds me a lot of silver. And even if it didn't look like silver, I still think Ethereum will follow Bitcoin in the long-term aspect of the crypto market. I don't have much trust in other altcoins, which is why I'm not buying anything else. I'm not even buying Solana. I don't care about this coin, to be honest. I like Ethereum. Ethereum, fundamentally speaking, is a very solid coin. Okay, And not just pure fundamentals on what it does, but also of the adoption rate. If you look at the adoption rate of Solana, it has actually been dropping during this entire drop. The adoption rate of Ethereum has been going up even though prices have been going down. So just when I look at these things, it just makes sense to risk a bit of money, whether you want to put 10% of your portfolio, 5%, 2%, it doesn't matter. But if you look at this as a pure asset and return opportunity, if you break these highs, the first target should very easily be $7,000, which if you take it from $1,800 would give you a return of 300%. Okay, so a very, very, very satisfactory return. So that's why I've been looking at Ethereum. For me, I think it will go back up. I think the levels are good. I just think we need to range a bit more near the lows, as I expect on Bitcoin, before moving higher. But when it moves up, it could become a very big runner. Okay, so that's kind of my view on Ethereum. But that's when you, I mean, do I want to talk about this? I'll give you like a bit of a hint. Like, you probably want to consider cutting your spot investments if Bitcoin breaks $52,000. And this is talking about spot, not leverage. Because if Bitcoin breaks $52,000, we're gonna have a big problem. Okay, I don't think it happens, but this is something that you have to be aware of. You cannot just buy spot and not have a mental stop loss. You have to know when to cut your investments in case things don't go your way. For me, a very big sign of weakness would be breaking $52,000. Okay, if we break this, I'm gonna have to reconsider. And again, taking a loss on investments is fine. For example, when I told you that I was selling silver on this pump, I mean, you look to make 4x on the pumps, okay? So then when you look at another asset, you don't mind risking, for example, 20% of the profits that you made on another investment. And that's how you play the investing game. I've talked about it many times. You make your money, you get out. And that's why I was telling you that personally, I didn't care about selling because I have made my money, I got out, and then I want to move on to new assets, which I did talk about it in the time, would probably be crypto and stocks, of course. But stocks right now are a bit overvalued, not just from a fundamental perspective, but as pure technical analysis. We have had this resistance for a very long time, and as you can see, it has been rejected multiple times. So a bit of an in-depth talk about the spot strategies, but again, not financial advice. You guys should do whatever makes you comfortable. What are your spot selling targets for Ethereum? Well, it will be the all-time high. I mean, minimum for me, it will be. I mean, to sell, I always like to front on my targets, just as I did on silver. Okay, I'm not talking about this to say that I was right. It's just like pure factually speaking, I had a target in this area from 110 to 120, and I started selling below $100. So I like to front on my targets. That's just how I operate. So depending on how it goes, of course, that would be such a long time ahead. I think $6,000 could be a good spot to start offloading a bit of Ethereum. But I mean, this is so far ahead. I don't think it's very interesting to talk about, at least for me. What trading platform do you use? At this point, I mainly use BitUnix and BTCC. I mean, if you look at my trades once again, BitUnix, and my massive short was also on BitUnix. So this is the main platform that I'm using right now. I do also trade on BTCC, but I'm much more active on BitUnix. What other assets do you have in your radar to buy once? I mean, it will be stocks. I have to be honest. I am keeping an eye on stocks. If we can get a correction from this level, okay. I still have this ugly low which has not been taken out at $6,500. That would be a nice correction of 7%. At this point, of course, I can start seeing if we have good stock opportunities. Right now, I'm not, I've talked about this before, but I have sold most of my stocks. And once again, when you don't care about being early, if you guys remember, I told you I was selling Sophie. Right, I sold it at $29. Look where it is. It's at $19. Guess why it went down after I sold it, it's not because I was right. It's just because I made profits and I don't care about selling early because I had done on this asset about a 2.5x on my investment. Okay, so I sell. Same thing on AMD. AMD is holding up a bit better, but still, I sold it on this gap somewhere around 220. It is at 207. Same thing on which one was it? Robinhood. Again, this one I sold it around 130. I sold it a bit lower at 130, and it is at 75. So right now, again, I have talked about this before, but I am saying mostly on cash, and I'm just waiting for new opportunities to come along. I am keeping an eye on Netflix. As you can see, I had this double bottom outline, but I'm just a bit hesitant to buy right now, mainly because of the resistance that we have on the stock market. So this is a big level that I've had for a very long time, and when price is moving up into it right now, I do want to hold out on buying stocks, even though they could be at a decent value, just like Netflix. Okay, so if we can get a bit of a bigger drop on the stock market, this could send Netflix a bit lower, and that's where this is one of the stocks that I'm personally watching to start buying. Okay, so that's just one example, but mainly I'm looking at stocks and I'm looking at crypto. And what are your thoughts about the? By the way, someone did ask, I think, wait, the first question. Um, okay, so someone asked how I got my target on the S&P. Well, it's the exact same way that I got my target on silver. Let's go over to silver. How did I get this target? Let's go on the log scale. It was this Fibonacci pocket. If you want to train around it, it is pretty nice to find targets, as you can see on silver. I just took it, if you can see, from the high to these lows. Now I took these lows. Why? Because if you add the point 0.5, so I will just show you quickly. So let's do, was it that low that I took it from? Yeah, it's that low. So I took this low because, as you can see, it did look like a range low. So low, 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 low deviation. Okay. So the reason that I didn't take this low and I took this low is mainly because, wait, just so you can see better, I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna add the zero. Okay, so this is exactly where I took it from, these lows. Why? Because this looked like a range. This is the range high, and this is very clearly the range lows. So when I took this, I went on the log scale because that's a very high time frame move. I got this target 108 to 114. I basically rounded it out because that's how the big players operate. It's not $108, $102. No, it's $100, 105, 110, 115, 120. And that's why my target was just a bit above this. I pretty much included 120. I took the psychological level. So let's go back on the stock market to show you how I got this target. Very simple. Let's go on the stock market. I hope I still have it outlined. Where's the stock market? It's right there. So same target, by the way, you can see 1.6, 1.618, 1.66. I took it from this high to this low. I got this, which offered a nice rejection. Guess I could hide this for now, but I want to keep it for myself. The second one, as you can see, was this one. I took this from the correction that we got earlier last year. That's already a year ago, kind of crazy. But I took it from this high to this low. I went on log scale and I got this just above $7,000. And if I remove the log scale, we have this lower target. So what I did is simply combine the non-log at $7,000 with the log at $7,100, give or take. And that's how I got this area. Okay. So when I look for targets at all-time highs, that's the main Fibonacci that I personally use. Okay, I'm gonna hide it, but I hope this helps. If you have any more questions, of course, send it. So, and what are your thoughts about the correction between S&P and, about the correlation between S&P and crypto? Um, it's hard to say because I was very bearish on Bitcoin for as soon again. I'm not making things up. You guys can go back and I looked for many shorts. This one, this one, this one, this one. Not this one. Sorry, this one, this one, and this one. But I have been very bearish on Bitcoin since we lost 120. And that's one of the reasons why I sold my stocks. Okay, so if once again, if you go back over to my stocks and look at the dates when price was up there, it was in October, and that's pretty much where Bitcoin was topping out, as you can see around October. If you look down at the date below right here. So yes, I do kind of look at this correlation, meaning when I'm very bearish on Bitcoin after a big move up, I tend to sell off some stocks, especially if they're overextended, which they were. But apart from this, I don't give it much more importance, okay? The way that you could look at it is that if we get a drop on Bitcoin towards 56, and then we get a decent drop on the stock market, and then Bitcoin starts to form a low, this is when I will look to buy some stocks. Okay, so it's not a one-to-one correlation, but personally that's how I operate. Okay, you don't have to follow this strategy, but when stocks are extended and Bitcoin is extended, I tend to sell off my stocks. When Bitcoin is dropping a lot, so it's overextended to the downside, and I have nice discounts in stocks, this is when I will look to get involved in these stocks. Okay, so it's not really a one-to-one. It's just mainly an overall market correlation, I guess you could call it. Yes, but you can see that even though Bitcoin dropped so freaking hard, the stock market has barely moved. Yes, we have seen a couple of rejections, but that's nothing big, right? That's like 5%, 3%, not even 5%. So yeah. Any other particular industries are you looking for in stocks? I was looking at new, but that was a long time ago. This one has moved without me. If we can drop maybe back towards 10, towards 12, sorry, maybe around this gap, I will probably be interested in buying. I really like this company. But right now, I don't really have a strong watch list for my stocks because I haven't done a lot of research yet on which companies I want to buy. Just because right now I think we have time. For example, this stock, I mean, the all-time high was at 19, and right now it's pretty much at 17. So right now, yes, we have Netflix, but this one doesn't need a lot of research. I mean, it's just a great company. I think it will be here for much longer. We have a good discount. They have a good balance sheet. It's a product that's very easy to understand. They have an upcoming deal with Warner Bros. So there's just a lot of simple things to read about Netflix. Am I forgetting a stock? I don't think ELV. I have been looking at this. I think I'm looking at the healthcare. I have bought a bit of ELV around around 320 right down there. I bought ELV, but yeah, that's pretty much the only stock that I own right now, and that's mainly because the health sector is very undervalued at the moment. But yeah, apart from these two, right now I don't have anything major on my watch list. I will let you know if I do. Ask me this question maybe in a month. I would have done more research on some stocks, but right now, I have to be honest, I don't have anything major on my watch list. I'm looking at uranium in the next month. Could you look at we talked about uranium before. I think it's just a bit overextended right now. I was looking at this company back in April when we got the job. I hesitated to buy, and of course I paid the price. Man, 34 to 230. Wow, that's a 4x. Yeah, so I hesitated. I paid the price, but right now I think uranium is a bit overextended. You asked about UEC. UEC. Yeah, I don't like to buy at these prices. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, again, if you look at less than 1 year ago, so that's about, I don't know, 9 months ago, price was at 3 of this company, at 4, you could call it, and right now it's 4 times higher. So the opportunity, again, that's just the way I view the markets. Maybe it will go much higher and you want to buy right here. That's now how I operate. If something is pretty close to its all-time high, that's not when I like to buy. Okay, so I'm not gonna give any more insights on this when things are overextended. Again, I was looking at this company, I didn't end up buying it, but at this point I am not interested in it anymore, even though yes, it could go higher, just because when I wanted to buy it, it was just below $40. Right now it's around $110. So the opportunity is gone. I move on to another asset, to another stock, and I look for a better return. Okay. What percentage in your portfolio are you interested in buying ETH with? Just about 5%, 5 to 10%, not a very big portion, because I mainly want to be allocated to stocks, and still I want to keep a bit, like I want to be at least 35% cash. That's including trading and other stuff, but I think around 5% is good enough for myself. Yeah, I guess that's that's what I'm gonna say. I paid the price for not buying LEU stock. What is this stock? LEU. Let me see. Centrus Energy. Yeah, that was a nice runner. What a big drop though, from 50, oof, 450. Is that a uranium stock? Is that uranium as well? If something is overextended like this, at what point would you look to buy? Well, usually when something is very overextended, I just completely move on to another asset, because usually, for example, I'll give you a very simple example, Robinhood. I bought this stock once again back in April. I sold it around 130. Even though the company hasn't changed, okay, but that's just the way I look at the markets, okay? It's not right, it's not wrong, that's just the way I operate. Like, it's not an insanely popular stock like Netflix, for example. So when you already got a very big run, I sold, and then price offered a big drop. I'm just not interested in making the same play twice. I don't know why I have this mindset, but I like it. It's just I don't like looking at the same stock two times in a row. Okay, we got a very big run. I sold, and even though we got the retracement, for me, I'm just gonna move on to a new stock, even though the company has not changed. Okay, it's the exact same company. It's just we got the very big run. Once again, I sold. We got the retracement. I just want to move on to another company which has not got a very big run yet, like NU, for example. Now you could make the argument that Netflix has had a very big run, but as I have told you, this is a very big stock, and these massive stocks that have like insane influence on the like insane market share, you would expect them to keep on going up. So when these stocks give you very big retracements to the downside, you have to take advantage of these opportunities to buy, just because again they're massive stocks and you usually expect them to go back up. So that's why Netflix is a bit different. But yeah, that's my view. So same thing for me with CCJ. Even though I didn't buy it, I look at it as the opportunity is gone, and I'm just not gonna look at it anymore. So it's not about time, it's just about interest. I'm not interested in these stocks just for a very long time. But usually, if you just ask in terms of percentage, you usually look at a 50% retracement to the downside. Why? Well, it's just simple math. If a stock retraces 50% of its move, the next move higher to the all-time high would be 100%. Oh, sorry. So it would be 50%. 50% of what? It would be, sorry, 50% of its price, bro. I'm so stupid sometimes. So usually it would be 50%. Okay, so you take the high, you take 50%, which would be right there. And if an asset drops 50% back to the all-time high, it would be 100%. Okay, and any investment that gives you 100% or more is a very good investment. and that was so stupid what I did. But you get the point. Usually, anything 50% or more is a very good discount because it gives you 100% return. Okay, so that's just in terms of math, of numbers. That's how I work. It's at least 50%, a 50% drop to the downside. And that's what we have, for example, on Ethereum. It's much more than 50%. But if you look at the drop until now, it's 62%. Bitcoin, we are heading into 50%. Okay, exactly 50% on Bitcoin. And that's just overall is just a very good rule, because if you can risk, for example, if you enter an investment with $50,000, let's say $100,000, and you can make $100,000 plus on this investment, is just very good, because it's a safe $100,000 that you can make. It's not like you enter a trade, you risk $10,000, and then it's a 10 to 1, but it has a lower chance of playing out because it's a lower time frame setup. Do you sometimes still look at macroeconomics? Yes, I do. I do. But I give much more importance to the charts. Okay? Meaning, if I don't see weakness in the charts, or should I say, if I don't see a discount in the charts, that could be one aspect. If I don't see a discount in the chart, but everything looks good, I'm not going to be interested in buying. It's not because everything looks good and the market will probably go higher that I'm going to buy. Everything is high, I'm just going to hold out. I'm going to wait for a drop. And once again, at this point, the macroeconomic doesn't really change a lot, because when you drop and you have a good discount, this is when you want to buy, no matter what the news say, because you have a discount, and historically the stock market has recovered of every single drop that has ever happened. So you're pretty much taking a trade. Okay, I'm saying a trade, but it's an investment. An investment is a long-term trade. You're pretty much taking a trade that has 100% chance of playing out. That's not something you can find everywhere. Do you like investing in real estate? Nah, not that much. No. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about my real estate right now, but yeah, I mean, it just depends. Just depends. I'm not gonna give too much. I'm not a real estate expert. Did you ever have a graduate job? Yes, I did. It was in France. Do I want to give the company? Well, it was a massive company. That's what I can tell you. But yeah, I'll just say that it was in France. It was in Paris, since I speak French. It's my native tongue. But yeah, I did have a corporate job, and I did graduate with a double bachelor. I didn't do masters because I couldn't be asked, but I do have a double bachelor. uh, anyway, anyway, with that said, it looks like we don't have any more questions for the trading part. And for the investments, we have talked extensively about investments, which I think is nice because I don't have too much to say about Bitcoin. That's the plan. You look for the fake out above the highs. It lines up with the higher time frame plan that I'm expecting to play out, which is a range, take out the lows and then reverse to the upside. So not too much to say on Bitcoin. We have a massive area below that you do not want to lose, even for spot investments. And last thing, you could say, even for spot investment, I mean, that would be for Bitcoin, but just look at Ethereum. If you want to invest in Ethereum, if you bought down there, and let's say your stop loss, you have a stop loss for your spot at $50,000, let's call it. Okay, so right there, and your take profit would be 150, because if Bitcoin breaks the all-time highs, logically it will go to 150 at least. That gives you a very nice 7 to 1. So if you risk $20,000, you make $140,000. If you risk $50,000, you guys can do the math, you make above $300,000. Okay, but on this point, do you think people are too bearish? Not yet. I actually don't think people are too bearish yet. But that's just my opinion. Like, how I'm looking at my timeline, I'm not seeing them. Like, of course, I'm seeing bears, but most people are already calling for a bottom. And that's why I think that this fake out could be so good, because people have missed the buy on this low. This is I'm convinced of this. On this low, everyone was so freaking bearish, everyone was panicking. That's why, once again, this is not hindsight. This is why I fully closed my short position last week at $65,000. That's just because we had so much fear that I don't think many people bought down there. So if we get the pump above these highs, everyone that has failed to buy inside of this range, in my opinion, they will enter long positions on the breakout. And that's why I would look at this as the last bull trap, the last good short position that we will probably have in this bear market. Because in my opinion, once again, if we go back to the higher time frame plan, this should be, theoretically, this should be the last short position that we get for a very nice low and then the start of a new bull market. Okay, so are people too bearish? I think last week people were very bearish, or maybe that was 2 weeks ago, sorry. So 2 weeks ago, people were very bearish on this low, but as soon as we got the bounce, everyone went back to calling for much higher prices, and I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying that the low is in. And that's why I think that this plan has potential of working out extremely well. The last bull trap, a reversal to the downside, take out the lows. I'm gonna look to fully close my short position, especially if I see the fear, just like I did before. Fully close the short, buy spot, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever you want, not financial advice. I'm just telling you my view, and then you look for that reversal to the upside. Would you still like BTC to pivot around Q4? It could come a bit earlier. Keep that in mind. It could come, I would say, around summer. Okay, so maybe, I mean, it could still be Q4, but I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how quick this plays out. If it plays out in 2 weeks, I would be pretty cautious, because the faster it plays out, the worse it becomes, because we do need to spend time to form a low. At least that's just my opinion. But I would give it like 2 to 3 months, for example, at least. So if you take 3 months from now, you are looking at May. So May going into summer. Of course, we could play around with these times. I'm not a time predictor, but you get my point. Around summer, I think would be a good place to look for lows. Okay, guys. So on this note, I'm gonna end the live stream here. It was a very nice one. I enjoyed this one just because we talked a bit more about investments. I do hope that I said some things, hopefully, that could help you guys in the long term about how to look at investments, how to find targets, when to sell investments just purely based on logic, not to get too greedy. Don't be afraid to sell early if you have made a lot of profits. These are very good tips that could help you in the long run. But on this note, I'm gonna end it here. So thank you everyone for the live chats. Of course, if you could leave a like on the live stream, that would be very appreciated. I'll really try to be as active as I was before on YouTube, but I'll be honest, if I don't see anything, I'm not gonna bother filming an update, because I just don't want to at this point. I'm just being honest. But yeah, that's the plan for this week. I wish you guys an amazing rest of the evening. Once again, if you could leave a like on the live stream. And finally, the last words. I will see you all tomorrow morning inside the Discord. So that was it for the live, and goodbye.